Hi, what's up guys? Vince Blaze here with Adventure Tennis. Hope you guys are doing well. We are back here in Winnipeg, indoor courts. This is a very special day because we're here to review the 2022 Head Speed MP. I've been wanting to try this racket for a while. Obviously this is a very popular racket, being the close sibling to Novak Djokovic's racket of choice, the Head Speed Pro. This is apparently a little bit of a lighter racket. Some of the endorsed players on the tour who are using this are Yannick Sinner and Bianca Andreescu. Not too sure how to pronounce her last name. But yeah, obviously it's a very good racket. Looking forward to testing it out. Today we do have a special guest joining us to be able to give us his thoughts on this racket. So we do have Magnus joining us here. Magnus, how's it going?
How are you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. So Magnus is a former provincial junior champion here in Manitoba. Yeah. You've been a little bit less active lately in the competition, in the training, I guess. Transitioning into the university, the adult world here, but obviously you're still active in tennis.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of your background in terms of how you grew up with the tennis world.
Yeah, so I started playing tennis, I want to say around 6 to 8 years old. My dad introduced me to it. My dad's just your average club tennis player, right? So, but he loves tennis, he has a passion for it, so we played it a lot.
Nice.
So naturally, my siblings and I got better.
Nice.
Then we got good enough to play tournaments, did pretty well, and here we are.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, his brother's actually on the other court playing right now as we're recording. Had the chance to see Magnus play. Bob and I are not nearly at his level yet, but it's a pleasure and it's an honor to be able to play with him today. We're going to be testing out this racket. Have you ever tried head racket or have you ever tried this racket before?
Never, actually, I've never used, this is my first head racket to ever use at all in my life.
Okay.
I've heard a lot of good things about it. I know a lot of professional players use it, like junior players too. I'm looking forward to testing it out, yeah.
So you've never tried like a head?
Never. I've only used Babolat and Wilson and like I think a singular Dunlop racket in my life.
Okay. And what do you use right now as your racket?
I used a Wilson Blade 98.
Right, okay. We just reviewed the 101 version. It's a pretty good racket, but I personally don't like the 98, but...
I love the 98. It's the best racket out there.
Do you think your thoughts are going to be on this one?
I'm assuming it's speed. I'm guessing it's a fin-friendly racket, and at least I think I hit it with a lot of spin. So okay. I would hope that it complements my play style a lot. Okay. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It looks very nice, like visually speaking.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful racket.
Very beautiful racket.
Yeah, aesthetically. All right, well, let's give it a shot.
Perfect.
All right, so I know nothing about this racket. It's my first time even looking at this, so it's gonna be pretty raw in terms of what I think about it. Here we go. Ah, come on. It's not bad. It is a little bit lighter on the frame, but not too bad so far. It is spinny. Oh. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so it's a little bit lighter on the frame, so I can't really rely when I'm swinging through the backhand. A little bit lighter on that side for sure. But I'm liking it on the forehand, not too bad. Yeah, I can't hit a single backhand. Oh! Let's do a couple volleys. Ooh! Not too bad on the volleys. Ah! So not warmed up.
Holy, feels good ripping it. Feels nice on the volleys as well. Feels very light. That's why I see what you mean. Feels very comfortable. I don't know if that's like the right word for it, but it feels very easy to use. Yeah. Feels good ripping the ball though. All right, should be good.
Ah. Awesome, so after playing with this racket a little bit, I feel very much at home with it. I usually play with the E-Zone 100, and so I felt like the weight distribution, the way that you're swinging through with the racket felt very similar to the E-Zone. I think the biggest difference I felt was in the stability of the racket. My E-Zone has a little bit of a thicker beam, and so this one's a little bit thinner, but it made for a whippier type of contact, which was great, but I did feel like I was losing a little bit of stability on the contact when I wasn't as aggressive on my shots. When I was swinging through the shots, I was getting some really whippy shots and some very aggressive like spin. I felt like there was no issues, but obviously I'm not always as confident on every single shot, so there's a little bit of hesitation, so stability issues here and there. It's a little bit lighter than my E-Zone, and so I was whipping through the balls and like contacting it not necessarily on center, not in the sweet spot all the time, so that might have impacted a little bit of the stability issues there. But besides that, I really like the racket. A lot of spin. On my forehand, I was getting a lot of spin. The balls were really hopping really high. I could tell that Bob and Magnus were having to back up a little bit in order to contact the ball at a good spot. But yeah, but overall, just really good racket, solid racket, and yeah, no complaints. I would recommend it to a lot of players if they wanted like a first solid racket to play with. It being a little bit of a lighter racket and not being so stable, I felt like I was struggling on my backhand. Again, I don't have the best technique on the backhand. I do struggle getting a good contact point on it, and so I felt like I couldn't rely on the racket as much in order to help me with the swing path and plowing through the ball. Same thing with the volleys. You know, once you get a good contact, if you're there on time, it's a very good racket, but it's about making sure that you have good technique in getting there. It's an extremely whippy racket. I will say, like, if you do, when I was running, when they were forcing me side to side on the running for the ball, and I was having to accelerate my swing a little bit in order to make sure I was getting the contact on the ball at the right time, I was noticing that the ball wasn't necessarily going right out of the court. It was actually allowing me to fly through the ball. I'm not too sure what kind of style of player. I think you have to really be an aggressive player in order to use this or to benefit from this. This wouldn't necessarily be for a pusher. This would be more someone who's very aggressive. So I can definitely see why a player like Yannick Sinner would benefit or likes this racket. Alrighty, boys, what do we think? What's the verdict? You like it?
Very nice racket.
Why?
Really complements my play style. I think the way I play, at least, is my forehand's very spinny, very whippy, while I like hitting flat on my backhand. And I feel like it both works. Like, my forehand's going in, lots of spin, very deep, but I can still rip it with my flat backhand, which I really like. So same with the volleys. Volleys felt very, very nice, very solid. The racket was lighter, so I could really move side to side when I'm at the net, which is important because the ball's traveling at me like twice as fast.
How about you, Bob?
I'm so-so. I'm 50-50 with this racket. I mean, I could see how this racket could suit an aggressive player, someone who likes to hit flat. I had trouble finding the sweet spot with this racket. It took me a while to adjust to it, but I preferred more on my backhand side than my forehand side. Couldn't really generate much spin with it. On the flip side of that, if you definitely unlock your wrist for it, hit it with a lot of pace, you could definitely have a good result in terms of a flat shot, flat aggressive shot.
Interesting. So obviously we've got contrasting thoughts here. I think it goes to play with like sort of like our play style.
Level.
Yeah, Magnus obviously a little bit more of an aggressive player, a lot more confidence on the court and a lot more training and technique. Us old guys, we're not quite there yet, so it's definitely, I think, a racket that you have to commit to the shot. You really have to commit, you have to swing through. I think like when I was swinging through, I was getting some really good spin and like the balls were really like, I felt like the ball path was really natural.
Yeah.
it's definitely something that you have to like, if you hesitate a little bit, you lost all the stability on the racket, and like the ball is going to be kind of outside of the court. So I personally liked it. The swing path was really nice. Just a little bit of stability. The E-zone, I could feel it immediately when I came back to my E-zone. It's a little bit thicker. It was like I could feel it carrying the ball through the swing. I could feel it really going through. So yeah. What are you guys' thoughts on the serve?
I liked it on the serve.
Okay.
I think the first, even my good misses, I had missed some misses that were good misses. Feel it on the strings, comes off quick. You could definitely generate a lot of racket head speed with this lighter racket, of course. I thought it was good.
I thought it was amazing, actually. I was in love with it. Like, no warm-up, no anything. I didn't even think I missed a single serve. I tried different serves. Kick serve was nice. I think it's because it was light, and I could just like whip the ball. I could see it kicking up a lot. I did a couple slice serves, and it was going. So 10 out of 10, I'd say.
Fair. I think personally I had a really off day with serves. You really do have to get a good contact on it, which I wasn't getting today. So I don't really necessarily want to ding on the serve, but again, just same all around. When you're playing, you have to have a good swing on it to play well. What kind of player would you recommend using this kind of racket?
I would say I think it's a very forgiving racket. So either both for high level and lower level players, as long as you're the type of player who's willing to go for it, who's like not really hesitating on the ball, you'd really find this racket very good on you. If you're more of like the aggressive, attacking type of player, no matter the level, I'd say this is the right racket for you.
Interesting. Okay.
I would say, yeah, like an intermediate player or someone who's just, I guess, say at 3.5 and up. Like Magnus had mentioned, really good for an attacking type player. Not good if you're pushing, like we said earlier.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with Magnus. Obviously, Magnus is technique's a lot higher than ours. And the reason why I would say that is, again, if you don't get a good contact, it's not a forgiving racket. Total beginners, I don't think that this would be a good racket. For like intermediate players, for sure. If you're aggressive, I do agree. For an aggressive player, this is your racket. It's really one of you. If you're going for it, this will translate into a good swing and reward you very well in your swing path. Question for you though, because you play with the 98 blade, the Wilson 98 blade. How would you compare it to this? Because I'm sure we're gonna get tons of questions about this.
So, I mean, I would say this is 300. I think the 98 blade unstrung is 304.
Right, okay.
305. But this feels a lot lighter than my, but at the same, and I feel like I could spin the ball more with my blade for some reason. But then again, I have RPM blast on it. My tension is way higher.
Okay.
I like specified it to my playing style, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure if you put the same things here, this is like bass string, bass everything from just what I tried. I was whipping the ball a lot more than I expected to. Could really see the ball going up and it's just dipping into the court right into the baseline, right?
So maybe like a lighter alternative to like a blade?
Yeah.
100 square inch, right?
This 100 square inch.
Yeah, so maybe a little bit more of a forgiving, I guess, alternative to a blade maybe. Yeah. Okay, cool. Good to know. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Bob and I both felt a little bit off about this racket. We weren't too sure exactly how to pinpoint it, but overall, I'd say it's a very pleasant racket to play with. Magnus obviously had a little bit more experience and he enjoyed this racket. But we'd love to know your thoughts. So if you guys have played with this racket, please feel free to let us know what you guys think in the comments. Hopefully we'll test out the 2024 version because I think they are coming out with one very soon. So since they are coming out with a new version, the price is probably going to decrease on this one. We're not too sure the differences obviously yet, but it might be worth checking it out. If you're an intermediate, aggressive player, this might be the racket for you, so definitely worth checking out. But that's everything for us. Please leave a thumbs up on the video and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.